Good evening and welcome to the December 7th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. You'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome. We have no public hearings this evening. Any announcements from the board? Sensing none, we'll move on. Additions and deletions to the agenda. We do have to add one item under new business, which is to discuss and vote on the disaster memorandum of understanding agreement for York County. So if someone would move to add that to the agenda.
I'll move to add that under, will be 9F.
9F. Second. All those in favor? Opposed? So we'll add 9F, discuss, vote on disaster MOU agreement from York County. Okay, we have no appointments this evening. Public comment. Clyde, step right up.
Good evening. My name is Clyde Smith. I live in Waterboro. I came here tonight. Last week I came into the office and I looked up Mr. Boers, Matt Boers, and I wanted to request an item to be brought to the select board agenda. And in that item in particular was about the condition and status of the Bennett Hill Road. And unbeknownst to me, when I met with him, there was actually a lot of more discussion because he asked me if I was aware of the discussion about that was on social media about the Chadman's Ridge Road and the Bennett Hill Road and so forth. I wasn't at that time. It didn't make it to the agenda, and that's why I'm here tonight. I want to request that it does make it into either a public discussion or the board agenda so that it can be discussed. I don't think this is the platform for it, and I don't want to try to approach that here this evening, but I think that the condition and situation needs to be discussed at length, and there are more interested parties than just myself and a few individuals. There are groups that are involved as well, and they need the opportunity to get in and present their case, their opinion, and their viewpoint, what their belief is. So I guess what I'm here for and what I'm asking is that either a public hearing so that we can discuss it, or at the very least an agenda item so that it's discussed and there's some interaction and discourse between public and the board.
We can certainly add it as an agenda item. I mean, we've had a number of discussions in the status of Bennett Hill Road, and I think we kind of knew that we were treading on some issues with how much the town has put into it, whether it's discontinued, and I think we've got legal opinion from that. So, but we can certainly revisit that if there's other interest, and certainly the condition is the condition. I mean, we've been unsuccessful in obtaining someone to grade the road, and at a minimum, not that we would put a whole amount of more expenditures into the road, but certainly we would grade it because that's part of the fire road process and everything else. But
This past summer, Hollis had their grader, or actually the Hanson's grader, it belongs to the Hanson Company, over to Edith Huey. They were working on the road over there.
Yeah.
I did speak to Mr. Hanson, Bob Hanson. He's the part owner of the business, but he's not actively involved now. And he said that they would consider it if they were approached to use their grader to. They hadn't been asked. That's all I wanted.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
we'll add it, we'll have the discussion of agenda items later.
Cousin Hill.
Get a copy of this.
That's your copy.
So
I can have this? Thank you.
am I understanding that you're going to add that discussion tonight?
No.
Is that what I heard you say?
We'll add it,
No.
we'll add
Okay.
it. We'll have a discussion to add it as an agenda item in a future meeting,
Okay.
later tonight, okay? Under item 14, we'll have that discussion. Okay, correspondence, we've got the treasurer's reports as well as the York County Sheriff's Office, the November report, so if anybody's interested in that. We post that, David, on the website?
It was posted in the public packet, yes.
Okay. So it's in the public packet, so if somebody wanted to look at it, okay. Reports and staff initiatives, Selectmen's reports. Mike, anything?
No.
David?
No, the only thing I want to just touch again is the 911 thing. I know I keep harping on this, but we've got some pamphlets that are out in the front lobby and also available for folks to get their housing numbers up as well, so it is that important. So I'm just going to keep bringing that up until I see some changes.
We've got it on the sign again, too.
Yes, and I saw that, thank you.
Do we have numbers here in town people can pick up that are cheap, or they go buy numbers to put
I
on?
think I'll pick them up
Yeah,
anyways at the
okay.
hardware store, but
All right.
it's just a matter of getting them up.
Yep.
Dwayne, anything?
Very little. I see that we've still got a few of these side roads that have to be plowed this winter that have not been touched or graded or maintained, and it's gonna be awful hard for that contractor to plow a piece of road that the water's running right out of. One of them is the Carpenter Road. There's a few others that still haven't been done, and not really fair to the contractor.
Okay, want to get a list of Matt, and we can have that discussion with Pete. And
I will say that the little bit of ice that we've had, the contractor is right there and he's been out and doing a good job so far.
I think he's been out 4 times already.
Yeah.
anything else, Dwayne?
No, I think that, yeah.
I'm all set, so Matt?
The pass out, you have it in your packet as well, but I'll just summarize here. Obviously Clyde come in and spoke about Bennett Hill Road. We continue with the budget preps for next year's fiscal year budget. If you have any suggestions or any requests that we need to put on there to be discussed, can you get them to either Laura or myself so we can get them in the initial document for discussion purposes. I reached out a couple times last week to Jim Southworth from the Budget Committee to touch base with the remainder of the members. I did not hear anything back from him as of yesterday, so I reached out to him by messenger online and was able to reach him, and so he's going to reach out to the other board members, touch base with them, but if I recall, they start early on in January, so he's going to work on that.
Maybe we should have a discussion relative to, for the board to, because we won't have a town administrator on board and whoever that becomes is gonna be way behind them, kind of the power curve on that, so maybe the board ought to have an initial discussion with the budget committee and you and whatnot, so if we could set something up, and it's fine if it's gonna be early January, we ought to do that.
Do you want to shoot for the 1st of January for the kickoff meeting then?
Yeah. We at least kick it off then.
Yep.
And I would suggest we have the department heads in and just kind of have a general discussion relative to where we see the budget going.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep, we can do that. You want to shoot for your first meeting? We do it as a workshop before the meeting?
I think it's, we could do it before meeting or I'm not sure how much business we're gonna get done. What, the 4th? The 4th would be the first meeting. And the 18th would be the second meeting, but we need to do it sooner than later, so.
Can we target the 4th at
Yeah.
5 o'clock?
Yeah.
All right.
So that's all of us with the budget committee
Yeah, I think-
and the departments all in one room? Good.
Do the selectmen want to meet without the budget committee between now and the first of the year to make sure that we've got everything pretty well set?
Well, I think we can kick it off that meeting. I think that will, I mean, certainly if you have some suggestions and whatnot, but I think that, I mean, without the department heads, we're not gonna,
Yeah,
so I would say that we kick it off that night.
okay.
I mean, at a minimum, Matt's gonna have to assume that role in developing the budget with the budget committee.
And I'm assuming just from past practice that some of the outside agencies have submitted on their own rather than, does the town of Waterboro have to go seeking out these individuals, or
No,
if they submit them,
they
correct?
submit them.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking Job County Community Action.
All those groups, yes.
Yeah. No, they submit to us.
So we don't need to go out, we don't chase them all.
We don't chase anybody.
We already have some.
It's already coming in.
But the ones we don't, and you've gotten some of them yourself? Can you send them over to Laura if you haven't already?
Yeah.
Because we were looking at that earlier, we don't have some of them, so we didn't know which ones we've got, so. A couple of public works updates. Shoulders have been completed on Ospey Hill. Garland Hill Road was graded today. And Pete was reporting that all the equipment is ready for the winter months. And Pete Cody is still out, and he should be out until about around December 15th. And that's all I got. For now.
Okay? Any questions, comments? No, we'll move on. Want to have an initial discussion to talk about the American Rescue Plan. I believe that those funds have already hit here, at least half of those funds. I don't know, we got them listed, Julie, in the, oh, okay, they're in the revenue thing, right? So we've received $403,826. So I wanted to talk about different avenues of where we could utilize that. There's very, very specific criteria, has to be COVID related, either within the community, for extra, well, I guess you can explain it better than I can, at least the categories.
The COVID education, there was a lot, premium wages and education, COVID education, and there there was one other one.
Communications.
Oh, I'm sorry, sewer and water.
Water, so water and sewer, right?
What was the total amount again? 800 and...
$403,826.16 is what we've received in the first payment.
Okay.
There will be a second payment in the same amount for what, so call it 806 or 807. And I also believe the county has received substantially
Was it
more
40
than that,
was it
right?
40 million?
40 million or something of that nature.
Yeah, I think
So,
40 billion that's allocated, 20 million's been received so far.
And a few dollars have been used on Spectrum, correct, David?
Right.
For broadband?
17 grand small, yeah. That was a part of the Deering Ridge expansion. Broadband, COVID related. Fit right in there.
So we're able to invest in broadband in town?
Yes.
Under that because of all this remote access that people need now because of this?
yeah. So we did not have any formal identification when we went through town meeting. So we actually had an item that we shared with Spectrum and Connect Maine, right? Connect Maine, Spectrum, and up to $25,000 in funding from the town to extend from, would be Stonegate all the way through to the end of the, I guess, the Red Schoolhouse field, as I would call it, or Larry Jacobson's new house up there. So, and that would take in what, the 6 new houses, 7 new houses, plus anything that was along the way. So, and they've already started some work up there, and I think the only hang-up is now pole permits or something, right? That was the update that you had.
Yeah, there was a piece of property that didn't have any power at all.
Right.
Power come in on both ends of the road.
Right.
So they was connecting
Yeah,
one
and
end of the
that-
road to the other.
And that's the problem with if you live on the east side of Daring Ridge, the power ends at now Jacobson's house. And if you live on the west side of the road, it ends at Edith Huey Road.
Right.
So,
And
So
to be
they
clear,
would-
it doesn't it pays for the line to go by the house. It doesn't pay for the
right.
Line to go to
person's
the
internet,
house.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so anybody that subscribes will have to pay their own subscription fee, but
But the hookup
this would be a shared construction cost with Spectrum. And I guess I would ask if there are any other areas or
Yeah.
underserved areas within the town of Waterboro,
too.
then we should bring that to the forefront, because we now have those funds in place to work with.
Do we have a broadband map of the town?
I do, yeah.
Could you forward that to?
I can
To
show
us.
it to you. It's kind of one of those sensitive things for a number of reasons, but if you come on in the office, I can show it to you. But it only shows, I think, a mile of middle road that's unserved. Basically, we're covered on all our main streets, all the main highways that run around town here.
Yeah, the problem with the Daring Ridge issue was, well, of course, they built 7 new houses up there, so that helped. But there was not the qualifying, the franchise agreement says 15 miles, 15 houses in a mile, right?
Is the density
have
they
to
want.
service. So the density just didn't meet it. Because now that's changed.
Probably the same situation on the middle road.
Yeah, and we may very well have that same issue as houses continue to go up in that stretch. So,
And does the town provide the infrastructure for Lake Arrowhead as well? for broadband, or do they do their own?
I think we do.
We do, we would be responsible for, I mean,
Probably New Dam Road, right?
yeah, New Dam Road, the Spectrum would then, you know, they would have to have a deal with Lake Arrowhead Community to go down each one of those private roads, but that's up to them.
All right.
Are they not served there?
I thought they were.
My guess is they're all served. because
I don't know.
No?
That's a pretty density.
I didn't know if they had high speed out there or what they have.
I couldn't imagine that, that's a cash cow for them to
I
have
agree.
houses that close to each other.
Yeah. Should be.
Yeah. Plus we could get, that we could get done. If it's, if there's 15 houses within a mile of the last drop,
They'll run it.
we can have them do the 100% cost on that.
But that's in the franchise agreement, right, that we have with them.
Exactly.
All right, so this is gonna be a kind of dynamic thing as items come up and qualify and whatnot, that I think that we ought to look at. There's some opportunity that we can take, we've been talking a little bit about, first responder pay rates, because it's now become so competitive in the surrounding area, and whether or not we can utilize those funds to, unfortunately, it's limited. It's going to be a 2-year deal, but if we bumped up pay rates and whatnot, it's only going to last for the 2 years, and then the town would, taxpayers of the town would have to absorb some of that. But I think we need to poke at that a little bit to see if in fact that's a qualifying requirement that we could utilize.
It must be.
I don't see why it isn't.
Right.
At all.
It's right on their website. Just looked at it.
Pretty straightforward, and
I was disappointed to see that it did not include law enforcement as first responders. That was disappointing.
Aren't first responders also,
Well, but
law enforcement also?
It broke down first responders. It didn't include law enforcement under their first responders for the COVID relief money.
we certainly have struggles, and I think we need to look at this sooner than later, because our challenges other communities have, and they've made much larger adjustments to their base rates, and we are falling significantly behind. You can see that in the spreadsheets that I provided you of a snapshot. We're competing with these other agencies. Actually, I'm sorry, we're not competing with them. In most cases, they've surpassed us, and we're becoming quite a stepping stone to them. So they're coming and going. We have been fortunate with the full-time staff that we have, that we haven't had a tremendous amount of turnover. Been very fortunate with that. I don't know how long we can continue that trend, unfortunately. And I know the market out there is very competitive for the individuals, and recruitment from these other agencies is high, that they're trying.
What do you think is reasonable on this to compare ourselves to?
Well,
The problem I'm having is that the requirements for any one of these people are the same for every one of these agencies. And because they're all in the same market area, we're in the same game as every one of them. And there's plenty of openings out there. And we can't necessarily attract them if we get them in here and then they're jumping out to another one of the communities that they're running off to, that, just for example, Buxton at $22.41 per hour per paramedic, per diem. We're at $19.43. And that's $19.43 because recall, the board had decided several years ago not to keep everybody at the same rates. So we did that. And that's been that way for years. So we have a paramedic that's been with us for 15 years. A new paramedic coming in the door is getting the same rate as the other person that's been here for many years, working for the town of Waterboro.
So I looked at this, and if we were to remove the leadership structure portion of this, looking at EMT paramedic. Doesn't make sense to me that somebody who's going to stick an endotracheal tube down somebody's throat when they can't breathe is only making $19 an hour. I have a hard time with that. But we probably need to look at this, obviously. But looking at that echelon of this spreadsheet right here, firefighter, paramedic, firefighter, EMT basic. If you're providing health care to somebody, you take a substantial risk to yourself too in doing that, both in liability and in exposing yourself to anything today.
Every one of the
These numbers I struggle with. Anybody that's under $20 an hour who's responsible for running a cardiac arrest or a code. That's hard.
I think we gotta sit down and take a look at the whole pay scale,
Yeah.
not just the EMS or the fire and rescue. I think the whole pay scale's gotta be taken care of because it's,
But the only issue with doing the whole pay scale right now is the relief money doesn't cover that. It only covers first responders.
once we start, we gotta.
And I agree with that, Dwayne, 100%, but we also need, I mean, if we're gonna bump up wages for the fire department, then we need to have a plan to budget that in 3 years when the money's used up, right? So that could be part of a capital improvement, possibly, or something to those effects.
Well, it's gonna have to be addressed, that, once whatever funds are gone, right?
How do we pick up the difference?
Then how do we pick up the difference?
Yeah.
And ultimately, you can't adjust one side of the workforce without having, adjusting the other side of the workforce as well.
100%, that's
But
exactly what I'm saying.
The public works in your transfer station is below the state rate at this point.
So I think it's a bigger picture, but I think
It's a starting point.
the real risk here is that if we don't do something, we're not going to retain the folks that we've trained to be firefighters or EMS folks or whatever the case may be, because they're just going to jump to another community, right?
And that's a scary thought, because if we invest thousands of dollars in some person that's coming in for, a firefighter, we invest in all the equipment for them, the training, if we send them to medical schools and then they jump ship to a neighboring town for $3, $4, $5 an hour more, the last thing we want to do is become a training department. We want to maintain people.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right. And the same thing with transfer and
100%, I'm right there.
public works, it's the same deal all the way around.
And Mike, just, you mentioned about the bottom slots on that chart. Every one of them is a license, everybody on that list is a licensed provider, just so you know.
Yeah, whether you're a basic, paramedic or...
All the captains, everything,
Yeah.
so just so you know.
All the captains are at least an EMT basic, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or advanced,
Or
that's the case,
advanced,
So we have $403,000. I think I trust the data here. Looking at the data, I think it's accurate. If we were to not yet adjust a salary yet, but show an appreciation for their service, considering the differences here, give us some time to mull this over. Should we extend anything to them out of this $403,000? I mean, I hate to see $403,000 sit here and we can't get a paramedic, or we can't hold a paramedic, or we can't hold an EMT, because I don't know if we have enough qualifiers here to even spend all of the $806,000.
You're not gonna put that all into labor.
No, but I'm saying, is there something that we can, no, but is there something that we can do right now as a gesture to say thank you? And we're working on it, we're gonna look into it.
Well, Matt went through this exercise, and he and I discussed it to try to cut it, slice it, and dice it. But the fact of the matter is that whether you look at populations or similar fire departments and populations that are like us, or you check it out with the current compensations, you're really looking at, if we bumped across the board, on a say a Waterboro Fire Department rates plus $3, it's $120,000 for an annual hit, right?
Yeah, or in this case, $59,785 for a January 1. If it was January 1, we're talking $59,785.50. January 2022
Yeah,
to June 30th.
would be how much money?
$59,785.50.
To give how much of an increase?
That's $3.
$3.
Across the board.
But we have $403,000 here. I mean, I don't want to, I'm not going to spend all this, I would never vote to spend all this on wages,
I
but
don't know.
No, I was just telling you what the 6 months was.
Yeah.
For that purposes. For a full,
It's annualized as 120.
Right, so 60 times 2, right.
You've got a water district right now, or a water system, that can't supply water enough
well, I know. And
for a 30-unit development.
I'm well aware of that, and I'm not even in a position to even address that right now, because I voted no for that, because I knew that that was going to happen. We're going to get told that the water district can't take the 36-unit housing complex, and then we're going to get stuck with this bill, fix the lines and fix pumps and drill wells. I knew that from the beginning. There's no way you add 30 houses, they're all taking showers in the morning, and then before you know it, the well runs dry.
But
I'm not even willing to go there right now. I'd rather deal with the fire department and the emergency services.
I don't agree with at all, but,
Well, the bottom line is that there is, part of the qualification of this is water and sewer.
I know.
Okay? Now, whether or not we want to have a session with the water district and look at opportunities that we could work with them, that's one thing. Doesn't necessarily have to be for any specific development. It's an issue of their total capacity and whether they've got storage capacity and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a bigger picture with the water district. It's not whether or not they can satisfy 30 new homes or not.
and there is a
But I
possibility.
will tell you that there's homes going up all over town, so.
Not on the water district, though. They're all
Well,
off the beaten path.
some of them are in the water district, but anyway, that's another discussion.
And there is another water company would like to buy out your water company.
And that's an opportunity, right?
It's an opportunity to be
But that's-
better and better.
That's a decision that they would have to make. Because they have autonomy from the town, so. So do we want to, I guess,
I think number 5 is my statement, I can read that to you, but I think number 5 on the document clearly puts us where we are with our staff. We've been fortunate to have several loyal, long-term employees that have become a cohesive team, and they generally care about this town. I think that's, I don't need to read verbatim what it says, but I think it's important.
And I agree. I mean, from a public safety standpoint, I think I have a little bit of voice in this. They're not sticking around for the money. They're sticking around because they have a genuine concern for the residents of the town. And the word cohesive is in fact very true when you see members of the fire departments working together. So, yeah, to look at a paramedic at under 19, I wasn't aware that the rates were that embarrassingly low, is the best way to say it. When you look at neighboring towns that are making several dollars an hour more, why would somebody want to stick around in just Waterboro when they can go elsewhere?
So what's the pleasure of the board here? Do you want to pull the trigger on something at this point, or do you want to revisit 2 weeks out? But I think the sooner the better. That we have the funding, it's qualified funding, and I think we've got just to retain the folks that we have and the per diem folks that we have. I think that we need to do something sooner than later.
So when I did the math here, we're behind double percentage points.
Mm-hmm.
So, were you going to say something else? I thought I heard you say something. No? Okay. Are you entertaining a motion?
Yeah, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we increase the pay rate for the fire department from, and let me know, Chief, if this is not going to go well, because we can always amend the motion, right? From captain down to firefighter basic, EMT basic, okay, 12.5%. It's still going to put us behind the other towns, but until we can get a handle on where we need to be. And I don't mean any disrespect, Chief, I'm talking about the working in the fire department, right? The captain is on shift, all those people that are on shift that are responding. No? What do you think?
No disrespect, but I think I work every day along
Yeah,
with Lisa Bennett, and so
I'm-
isn't Laura Fish.
I'm asking, I know, I'm just.
Well, you just said that.
I'm asking you, I'm looking at first
And I think in the
responder.
past 4 months, we've been splitting hairs, coming
Okay.
over here covering a lot of what's going on.
I understand.
By contract language, we should have been having a discussion about negotiations for compensation with long-term vacancies of the town administrator, and we didn't even do that.
Okay,
We let it go at the $100 per day.
so I'm looking
I
at.
think beyond that, we also have it in the contract that says any salary adjustments would also be extended. I think Deputy Chief Lisa Bennett, if she's absolutely watching, I'm assuming she
You want a
probably might be.
deputy, I can include the deputy chief.
But
It's fine.
I think she's doing the same thing, thinking she's going on calls.
Great,
I think there is, everybody's hands on deck, and it has been for this entire
Okay.
fiasco.
I will include the deputy chief in it. I will not include the chief right now. I will
I
include the deputy chief.
really appreciate that.
I'll include the deputy chief. So anybody from deputy chief down gets a 12.5% until we reevaluate the pay scales and go through the motions of workshops to figure out how to have a better pay structure in the fire department.
Does that include the secretary as well? County administrative assistant?
Well, I made a motion, somebody needs to second it for discussion,
Okay,
and then it can be amended.
Sorry.
So do we have a second?
I'll second for discussion, because
Okay. So you're talking from the deputy chief down, which would include the captains, firefighter EMTs, all categories, administrative assistant, all categories, and the per diem, all categories.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why would you not want to include the chief in that?
I just see the chief as a, just a separate negotiation. That's just how I view the chief. It's not that I think the chief is not worth more or should stay the same. I just think that the chief is a separate negotiation.
How so? Because I see it as one unit. It's not unionized. It would be the Waterboro Fire Department, which is chief right down to, if it was included in this, it'd be the maintenance guy as well. So
Yeah.
it's it's one unit. The fire department's not separated like other departments as far as rescue does their thing and fire department does their thing. This is one unit. So I would just question why we wouldn't want to all or none.
If you ask me, I'm not gonna vote no. I wouldn't vote no to it.
Do you want to make an amendment?
I would like to make an amendment that,
I have to amend the motion, right? Do I have to
No.
amend it? No, okay, good.
you could second it.
Yeah, I will, actually. I will.
So, the amendment that I would make is that we use this wage scale. Obviously, the homework's already been done for us. I'm on board to pull the trigger tonight, but my amendment would be to include everybody that's listed on this. There was a question before. That's just for discussion, so we can get into what Julia just brought up. But my amendment would be to include everybody in this study, across the board, from chief right down to your basic EMT.
Second.
And you're saying per hour, not a percentage.
I'm not saying a percentage, I'm saying
Yeah.
the $3 per hour
Yeah.
that's in this wage study that we have in front of us.
And,
Oh, not the 12.5%.
Not the 12.5, this is the $3 an hour, which would bring everything up well within, it's $59,785, so it's $120,000 out of the 403 that we could use
Annualized.
annualized, that's right,
And used for the whole fiscal year, right?
correct.
this fiscal year, from January to June.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
mean,
gonna back-
we
and
can't
you're gonna-
do anything beyond
can't.
that, other than building it into the budget, next
Right.
year's budget.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, are you talking back wages or
I'm not-
forward wages?
I'm going forward, not back wages at
Okay.
all. Just
So you're
forward.
talking the 59, roughly 59,000,
For the next 6 months, January to June, yes.
yeah.
So that would be my motion, if someone would care to second that, we could continue discussion.
I will second that, Dave.
So the only reason why I did the 12.5% is because it gets us not just over the least of them here, it gets us in the middle of the pack. So therefore, if you do like the Waterboro Fire Department more than you like the one that's at the head of the pack, you might think, well, I like them better, so I'll stick around, or I'll go there.
I just want it worded so that the fire and rescue, and not just fire department, because
Yeah,
that's getting into fine lines to what we're approving here, not the,
No, and I like it to keep the staff on board, manned stations 24/7, where we don't have to rely on mutual aid or
Yeah.
first, second, third, fourth tones.
Same here.
While someone's having a cardiac
I
arrest.
understand that, and that's what I'm saying, not just, in your motion, please add the fire and rescue personnel. So
Yes,
that
absolutely.
covers, everybody's talking about fire department, nothing's been said about fire and rescue.
Okay,
So,
fire and rescue, Laura, is my motion.
Okay.
Yes, I'll amend that.
And
Yeah.
your amendment is to,
Use this wage study,
and adjust everyone by,
is it $3? Right. The homework's already been done, it speaks for itself. And
Would
I'm-
I please have a copy of that? Because I've not heard any of this.
well, once we vote, we'll give it to you,
Thank you.
okay? So your amendment, any other discussion on the amendment, which would be include the fire and rescue personnel, right?
why don't we just ask to take that motion off the table and go with Dave's motion, it would be a lot clearer.
I'll take my motion off the table.
Gotta be
And you seconded it, you want to pull your second, so your amended
What
motion
second? I didn't have a
becomes-
second.
No, you
You
seconded
seconded
Yes, I'll
his
remove-
original
yes, I'll
motion.
remove that.
That's gonna clear up this whole table.
So we now have a motion
Made by me.
by Dave, seconded by Dwayne, to adjust the wages as recommended by the fire chief which ultimately is $3 per hour adjustment.
For everyone listed on the study.
Yes. Any further discussion?
Robert's Rules of Fun, aren't they?
All those in favor? Opposed? All right, motion carries. That funding would come out of the American Rescue Fund, right?
Correct.
And any further discussion would, has to be built into the FY23 budget. Right? So going forward, you've got to make this adjustment in the budget request with...
For next year.
Right, for next year.
Correct.
Okay?
But,
Please don't ask for
No.
another fire truck.
but that funding can be funded
Right, it could
by
be,
this.
right, it could be
this-
funded by
this
that.
here.
Right,
By the COVID relief, yes.
but
Yeah.
that's part of the vote. that'll-
Yeah.
Right.
It has to go in that way.
Yeah, but it's got to go into the motion, warrant article.
Okay, so make sure that Julie has it so that she can make whatever adjustments.
Can I ask where the money's gonna come for the matching main PERS for the fire, for the full-time fires? Because now that the fire department has such an expensive policy.
I would suggest that...
That
Didn't
can't
it-
come out of it, can it?
Well, it's part of the wages, so they'll all get totaled in.
It's a benefit though, it's not a wage.
Isn't the,
Well,
I'm asking, so-
let's make
Because I've
sure
only
that,
got 2 weeks to get this implemented, so.
let's make sure that we have that answered. And if someone, I guess
Thank
just to
you.
cover that, if you want to make a motion that any benefit PERS, certainly the insurance part that the town owes and everything else as a result of this would come out of the American Rescue Funds,
Thank you.
Rescue Plan funds.
I'll make that a motion.
Second. All those in favor? All right. So that covers that, if in fact there's an issue. And then our job as we get through this is to make sure that we have as we go into budget season, to make sure that we make whatever requirements have got to be done. Okay? Anything else on that for now? All right, let's go to 9B, discuss vote to approve the special amusement permit for the York County Blues Festival to be held August 2022.
Who's this guy?
Yes, sir.
I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. Dave Lowe is my backup.
So, no change from last year other than the date?
The only change was going from 1 o'clock instead of 2 o'clock. So we're gonna end at about 7:30, so there's still more light. I don't want, we're finding too many people leaving, because it just got dark out, and we think this will be safer.
Okay.
Rustic Taps, who serves the alcohol, they've been doing it for all the blues festivals, we've never had a problem, they'll be doing it again. And we'll have police on hand, and we'll have an ambulance on hand as long as they're not out on a call.
And we do have feedback from County Sheriff's Office on the issue with, which would be the next step here, is the license, right?
That would be correct.
There's no issue, they say.
There are no issues.
I thought I saw something.
Right.
Yes,
Typed up.
it's your 9C there.
Yeah, here.
All right. So, do I, well,
I just have a question. How many people were there at the last couple of years, roughly? I know you don't have an exact number, I'm not asking
Yeah,
if you had to put a
I'm
ballpark.
saying probably between, about around 450 this year, I think.
So 450, 500 people?
I mean, we're hoping for a little more. Last year, our ticket sales from Eventbrite doubled, but as we're getting close, and a lot of people wait for the weather, and then there's a COVID spike,
Okay.
and we think that took away some people.
You keep an ambulance right there on scene, on site?
Yes,
As a
unless
detail.
they're on call, so they might have to leave, but they are there, yes.
Is it possible to put a detail out, to have an ambulance dedicated to that event?
Didn't we have one there last year?
Yeah, there's always one there. They stay there unless there's a call somewhere else needed. They would
No,
leave.
what I'm asking is, could we put an ambulance there dedicated, like one of the second ambulances there for that entire event as a detail? So that they don't have to leave
Yeah.
from start to finish. Is that doable?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would ask to add to all of this. Other than that, it's been a great event.
Yeah, we haven't had any problems at all.
But I'd just like to have medical, yes, I'd like to see medical there dedicated start to finish.
Okay? What's your pleasure, folks?
I'll make a motion that we approve the permit for the York County Blues Festival under 9B to be held August 20th of 2022.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Item 9C, discuss vote to approve the liquor license or the liquor being served at the York County Blues Festival, which ultimately is Rustic Taps, right?
Yes, sir.
And if there should be an issue with Rustic Taps, you'll get back to us,
Absolutely, we're already booked with them.
because we're gonna make an assumption that it's Rustic Taps, right?
Yeah, it's contracted already.
Okay, all right.
Well, as soon as you sign the permit, it'll be contracted.
So what's your pleasure with that, folks?
Same thing, make a motion to approve the liquor license for the 2022 Blues Festival.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor? Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Todd. Under new business, item D, discuss vote to reappoint Nancy St. Amman as the motor vehicle register, right? Registrar.
No, as the
Registrar.
voting registrar.
Oh, this is the registrar of voters?
Yeah,
This is not the motor vehicle thing?
Right.
All right.
Did I write that wrong? Sorry.
All right, so discuss vote to appoint Nancy St. Amman as the
so moved.
register of voters for the year and zone. All those in favor? Okay. Next item is just, we put it on here to, we'll roll it into old business, but we need to start discussing town report dedications. So if anybody has any ideas or recommendations, please bring that to the next meeting. Item F, discuss vote on disastrous memorandum of understanding agreement with the York County. This was something that Matt and I had a discussion on. I thought he could sign it, but evidently now it has to at least be voted on from us to allow him to sign it.
Which I did originally sign it, and they've got it, but we need to have you formally vote for it. And this is so that we can invoice York County and get reimbursed for providers working at the vaccination clinic during this pandemic.
That's what I
In
was
short.
going to ask, what is that? What was
In
it?
short, that's what it's all about.
Insurance.
So we had EMTs doing vaccinations?
We have had providers going over.
Okay.
It's not all the times when they call, and if we have people available that want to do it, they go over to the Sanford Clinic and they do such. So either you can vote to allow me to sign the document, or you can vote and then you can all sign the document.
I will move that Matt be approved to sign the document,
Second.
whatever the wording needs to be.
Any further discussion to allow Matt to sign off on the MOU? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. All right, there is no unfinished business or old business tonight.
Just want to go, do you want a letter or a note for town report dedication if we're going to submit Dwayne McCoy's name for consideration?
Yeah, I would just put, something to tee it up as
Okay.
an opportunity.
Good call.
Discuss, vote to approve the minutes of the November 16th meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Pending decisions, I think you're all set on that week's action list. So we're going to bring back and put on the next agenda a discussion on the condition and status of Bennett Hill Road. So anybody that's interested in that, that will be on the agenda. And
Do
it
we
would-
want to put that as a public hearing?
If we're gonna make a vote, we can't do that at a public hearing, so my suggestion is that we might not have to vote on it, but we can have a discussion.
We could always do a public hearing at a later date.
Right.
If we need to.
Right.
At least get the conversation started.
I was just thinking if we made it a
Or
public
continue the
hearing,
conversation.
then it's done.
Yeah, but
We made so
Could you
much
put the
room.
public
but,
hearing at the beginning and then put it on the agenda item to discuss later on? Nope.
Yeah, but what's the public hearing gonna be about? Right, so we need input first, and then we can make a decision based on that, right? So I would say we'll add it as an agenda item.
Under old business, right?
Yeah, it keeps coming back, so I guess we would put it under unfinished business.
Okay.
Have we closed it yet this winter? Have we already closed that road?
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, and you probably know better than I do at this point, but it's closed when they don't plow it, correct?
Is Bennett Hill Road closed right now?
No, not yet.
No.
No.
Okay.
It's getting to a point where it's almost impassable.
Well, that
It's not due to snow.
Right.
That doesn't
I mean-
doesn't stop anybody from driving 60 miles an hour down.
No, it does not.
So here, just for a procedure here, if we close the road, like if we barricade it or make it so it's impassable,
Yep.
we have to have a hearing for that.
No.
No,
The state says so.
no.
The state statute says that we have to have a hearing. Prior to an announcement under subsection 1, the municipal officers shall hold a hearing on the proposed winter closing of a road or roads or portion thereof. That's what it says right here.
When was that passed?
It's just main law right here, 1981. 1979, 1981.
Yeah,
The last revision was meant,
It's been revised.
I just pulled this off their website.
Okay.
That was the link that,
So we'll have that
Provided you're-
discussion, and then ultimately we can have the discussion of whether or not we're gonna, we have not done that in the past couple of years. We've not had a public hearing, so. Okay? Anything else on the agenda?
There is more to that law and the mud season.
Okay, items needing signature, we need a special permit for the York County Blues Festival sign. Matt's gonna sign the MOU, which is in here, but you don't need to sign it. I think you already signed it, right?
I did.
And with that, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Good evening.